Right, so shall we take a look then at the sides? And as I've said, at the moment there are a certain amount of sides available, so please do check updates and see what new things come out, because it may well be I don't cover it in this tutorial, but it's down at the bottom. But the principle of the sides is all the same. So shall we take a look at what we've got going on? So let me just actually show you from the top. So this is base A. So I've just picked the side templates from there. Now, sometimes you will find that there is 2 sides and 1 top. Other times you'll find that there is no top. But if there is no top, we've usually given you something else instead. For instance, this is our camper van. And the camper van is really kind of square or rectangular. There's very little carving goes on. You'll need the carving for that front shape and the back shape, but actually it was far better for us to give you the front and the back, because from that, when you put that up against your cake here, you can see what gently needs carving down the sides, but it also means you've got all the window detail to mark everything out that way. Likewise with the van, we've given you 2 sides, but then the back, because that's easier then for you to mark out. We've done little things like, you might find that some of the windows, you think, oh, why is that only half attached? Or does that need to come out? Or doesn't it? No, it doesn't. It's there for you because it's not a window on all vans. Sometimes it's actually just a panel that's marked, like a blank window. But we've given you the lines so you know where to mark it, basically. All of the bits have got cut out of them. This one says mini, use base A. So you will always know which base to use when you've got the templates left over afterwards and you're like, oh, I want to do this one and I don't know which way it works. But sometimes, as I said, we have given you a top as well. Okay? So that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? As I said before, this is made from the same material that you make acetate smoothers from, so it's food safe, easy to wash. I wouldn't recommend that you put it in a dishwasher, just because if it gets too hot, it could warp. But just popped in the sink of hot soapy water is absolutely fine. And as I said, you may find that there are a few little burn marks, and that's just where the laser cutter has to slow down to do something and remains on there a little longer. I can't adjust the settings because otherwise it wouldn't then cut out in other places. But it's not going to detract from the use of it. It certainly won't harm anything. And the more you wash and use it, the lighter those marks will become. There aren't many, but on some of them it just kind of comes about. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was, if I can find which one I want to talk to you about. Let me have a look. Okay, you won't actually be able to see them from the camera, but there are markings on where the door is and where some of the lines go, and you may want to mark those on your cake, basically. I'm just trying to see which ones. Here we go. There's the one. So here's the van. Now I can see from here that there is a line down there that's marked for where the door is, like that, and like that. And whilst it's easy to see when it's sat on the table, it might not be as easy when it's on your cake. And that depends on what you've ganached it with or covered it with, what colour you've covered it with. There's a headlight line just there, look, as well, which is rather helpful. I think, oh, that's a door handle line there and there. And then we've got our back line there as well. Okay, so what you might want to do if you're going to struggle to see this, of course, some people's eyesight's loads better than others. Some people can see things fine and others they can't. But do feel free when it's not on your cake to actually physically draw with a permanent marker on there. Obviously, you're only going to draw on the outside that's not touching the cake, can't you? Because there's one of these for for each side. But it will help you find it when you want it later on and you're going to go and cover that cake. So as I said, don't be afraid to kind of do that. It's quite a useful thing to do. As I said, some of them, you know, are far more clearer than others, but they're all there, I promise. They are all there. It's just if you can't sort of see them, then do feel free to mark them out, basically. Right. So, as I said, the sides have written on them what bases they are useful for. And I want you to kind of think of them like this. So base A and sides A were for little cars. So the Mini is a perfect example of that. B and C were basically, well, B is the bigger car. So A, little car, B, big car, C, sports car is the easy way to remember that. D then went down the van route and E then goes down the truck route. So we've tried to label them in size order, although B and C is a big car and a sports car, so just a slight difference in variation, that's all. And those are the biggest sizes. The C and the B and the C are the bigger in size. The D is not as big, but of course it's then got more layers of cake in it. So don't forget to refer to car dimensions and portion guide on this tutorial so that you can see which one it is that you want to do, okay? Watch through the tutorial. It will then kind of make more and more sense, and by the end of it, you'll be able to then decide which it is you want to buy. Or maybe you've done it the other way around. You've purchased one of my kits, and now you need to know how to use it. So hopefully, if that's the case, you purchased the right one. Of course, it wouldn't particularly matter if you hadn't, because the kits are adaptable. They are designed that I've given you enough inspiration and lifted that cake off its board that you'll be able to adapt that shape accordingly. So when you get to the section on adding cake pop mix, you'll see exactly what I mean. You see how, oh, at this point, it looks like this car, and this car. But if we added a bit to the back, or we added the bit and the bonnet, or we shaped the roof slightly differently, oh, look, it all of a sudden becomes something else. So without further ado, I reckon it's time that we get some cake out, don't you? We're going to get some cake out. We're going to fill a couple of these cakes and carve them so that you can start to see how easy this is all going to be. I can't wait to see you on the other side. I'll see you soon.